You are now listening to the Friends of Rugby podcast. Relax your anus. Balls. Thick thighs. Camille Shat. Where's his neck? Eddie Jones. You fucked, mate. We're nice now.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, and we are recording.
Wow.
Right away.
Straight
as
in.
soon as you sat down from the toilet.
All right, I'm ready.
Hello, friends. You're listening to the Friends of Rugby.
Hello.
Bit of a little mishmash start today.
Yeah, we had to sneakily catch up on some rugby news, didn't we?
Try to look for a story. Try
Yeah.
to look for a scoop.
It's dry out there, isn't it?
It's a little dry.
Yeah. Maybe this is a good thing that rugby isn't dramatic right now. What do you think?
Wait, a little bit of a breather point.
No,
It's starting to gear up. There's things.
Oh, yeah.
There's things like this Saturday, top 14 starts.
It does.
Yeah, they've had their 2 weeks off, so they're right back at it.
Yeah, USC doesn't start till mid-September, September 20, I think.
Yeah, I think.
It's a whole month of more games.
When does the Prem start?
I think
around the same time.
Yeah, around the same, maybe a week before the URC, is it?
Yeah, the
But-
top 14, they're getting right back
Yeah,
in it.
they're just tanning those foreign players' hides straight away, and they get
Go
those
to work.
signings to work, get them down the mines.
Yeah, just like go back to work.
Yeah, holy cow.
How you doing, Frank?
I'm good, yeah. I played rugby this weekend with you.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Played a little bit.
I don't often notice who I'm playing with in the heat of the moment, actually. Do you ever feel like that? You don't know who's on the field with you? Well, because, you played in the forwards.
I didn't know who the captain was on our team.
It was a pretty breathless game, wasn't it?
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
know. I was like, who the hell is who's our captain today?
Yeah, that's how, yeah. So suffice to say we didn't win.
I saw you make a few good tackles
I
out
did.
there.
Yeah, I did. I might, despite my back pain. I didn't get as low as I wanted, so they were a bit rugby league-ish.
I saw you tackle a guy pretty high.
Yeah, I did, because I
Yeah.
did not want to bend
And I was
down.
like, ooh, I hope we don't get
Yeah.
called for that.
Yeah, I know. It was a bit harsh. And then
Yeah.
I ran after a ball that had gone behind us.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt two guys coming up behind me. My spider sense was tingling. So I kicked it sideways to our fullback, and it was the worst decision I could have made. I was just so scared of getting speared in the spine as I'm picking up a ball, you
You
know?
just kicked it. I was like, dive on it.
I know. It was a stupid idea, but whatever. I'm
That
old.
was a good rugby trip.
It was
that was a good
an
rugby
old
road
school
trip.
tour, wasn't it? We went
Yeah.
out of town. The
Yeah.
other team put on a really good party for us. They had a party bus.
Yeah, they had a party bus.
They literally had a party bus.
Yeah.
Drove us into town. I didn't pay for a beer all night, actually. Genuinely.
At the end of the night, that we were the only team.
Yeah. We lasted longer than them.
We lasted longer than because there was another a women's team that came up.
Yeah.
They just vanished,
They didn't stay, did they?
and then we had our women's team
Yeah.
and the men's team up there, and
Yeah.
we fucking shut the place down.
We did. We had a good time.
I was telling the guys, I was like, going up to Grand Prairie is a good rugby time.
You were right. I wasn't sure how much of it was myth and legend and how much was true, but no, I did a boat race. I dressed as a shepherd. I made a shepherd's crook out of empty cans and tape and herded my flock of guys dressed as sheep. It was a good time.
Oh yeah. Last time I like wasted, almost
Yeah.
arrested, hit on a drag queen. Like,
Yeah. No, I had a lot of fun. Took me till probably yesterday to feel human again, actually.
oh yeah. Oh,
I'm getting too old.
I actually struggled to make it to midnight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like all these young kids are just like ready
Yeah.
to go forever.
Yeah. It's their time now.
Yeah.
It's their time. I pass on the baton,
But
I'm not-
listeners, if you ever have a chance to go on a rugby road trip for a game,
Yeah.
I highly recommend it.
Don't turn it down. Memories were made.
I just don't know what my life would have turned out if I never found rugby.
I always think about people who play other sports. They just
'Cause
don't
it's-
have these experiences, do they?
It's just not the same.
It's not the same. You play the team, you shake the hand, and you go home.
Yeah.
If you shake the hand.
If you shake their hand. A lot of
Yeah.
teams don't. A lot of games teams
No.
don't do that shit.
No.
Right?
I made some friends.
Yeah. Yeah. You get the club atmosphere.
Mm.
I remember when I first came. My first taste of rugby. I went to watch a friend's game
Yeah.
who I've been friends with for years,
Yeah.
and I always knew he played rugby, but it was this thing he did.
Yeah.
And finally, I went, and I was sold. I was like, oh shit, I want to do this.
It's a community. It's like being in a cult for a season.
It is a cult. It's a sport cult.
Yeah. For a whole season, like for about 5 months of my life, because it's a summer sport here, I'm in a cult.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't just dip your toe in. You're in.
No, you're in.
You know.
You're sold. You
Yeah.
gotta double down.
Yeah.
Like you're in the cult.
We had people
you're
getting
constantly-
tattoos
Yeah.
of our club this weekend.
They got branded.
They were branded new players.
Yeah, and then you're constantly trying to convert people.
Yeah.
Like any person with any kind of size I run into, I'm automatically talking to them about rugby.
I harass people all the time. That's
Yeah.
how we've recruited 2 people this year for our team. A man and a woman, just harass people in bars.
Yeah, you just I remember like seeing a guy on a construction site. He was like 6'8",
Yeah.
and he was carrying the steel around. He was a monster, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god! It was kind of like one of the scenes in the movie, like this is heaven. It's like, oh, and I kind of floated over to him.
Yeah.
And I looked at him. I was like, hey, do you want to come play some rugby? He was like, yeah, okay. And I was like, oh, that was it. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
That was easy.
And he was
Yeah.
good. He was good, but then he got injured at work.
You scored your first try this
Oh,
weekend.
don't say that. A lot of people don't know that.
I didn't say in what
I
context,
gotta
though, did I?
edit that
It
out.
could have been this season, couldn't it?
Yeah, it's taken me a long time to finally do that.
Yeah.
I
Congratulations.
just every time I get to the line with the ball, like everyone somehow becomes like a super tackler.
Well, yeah, they're
Because
desperate.
I've come close so many times, I just just cannot.
Yeah.
And you know what's the worst too is I've helped driven a lot of guys over the line to get. Not once has anyone ever fucking been behind me driving me through, and it pisses me off.
You're
There
like
was-
that red guy in the Avengers. I can only show you the path. You've got to walk it.
yeah, like so many times I've helped people like get over the line, and then I'm just like, and then when it was like when I'm in that position, there's just like no one there.
Yeah.
It's like ghosts.
Yeah.
It's like fuck. So yeah.
It's a bit random, honestly. I've enjoyed playing 9 because as I'm getting older, I feel like I'm just opening the door for people, you know, for the kids to.
Here you go.
Here you go. You go have fun
Take
with
that
that.
ball.
Go have fun with that. You know, pass it down the line, see what happens. I like it. But yeah, it was a good weekend.
Do you want to talk about some professional rugby,
I think we should.
or should we talk about Alberta rugby? This whole podcast about Alberta rugby.
Yeah, we could talk about the negatives as well. We'd be here for a while, but
Oh, we get into the drama,
yeah,
the local rugby drama.
yeah. Our millions of fans don't want to hear that though. They want to hear
No,
what
they
we
want to
think.
hear about the URC.
They want to hear our half-baked opinion. Oh, you want to start there? You want to start at the
Oh,
URC?
sorry. No,
Rugby- start the-
United Rugby. No, the Rugby Championship.
Right, not the United Rugby Championship, just the Rugby Championship.
It's been a long day.
Yeah,
We usually record in the mornings
we do, to be
when
fair.
we're fresh and
Yeah.
full of drugs. And
You're more of a morning guy as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
I kind of wake up about 4 o'clock mentally. So
because we all
I'm
went
ready to
drinking
go.
in GP, and I left the bar at midnight, got to bed around 1 o'clock, and then I hit the road. I hit the highway by 6 a.m.
No. Horrible. No way.
Yes, I am a morning guy. That's where I shine. That's where I do my best work. But yes, let's talk about the Rugby Championship.
All right.
Not the United Rugby
No,
Championship.
I mean, we will talk about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
We'll dip our toe in, but let's talk about
The first game.
Argentina versus New Zealand
Blah.
in the fortress,
The fortress.
the absolute indestructible fortress of. Wait, where did they play? Dunedin?
Yeah, and no, they didn't play in Dunedin. They played in Eden Park. You got me all fucked up. Yeah. In,
Somewhere that is
man.
indestructible.
No, you got me all fucked up.
I know.
In Auckland. Jesus.
Auckland. Yeah. All right. Anyway, they don't lose there, do they?
You know, I'm not a spiritual guy. I don't believe in ghosts
No.
or magic or anything like that.
Okay.
But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe something's going on there.
It annoys me because I think that people think they shouldn't win there, and that has a significant psychological effect on them. You know, it's like you're not allowed to win there, and people believe it.
I don't think it's a psychological thing. I really think it's like poltergeists, like some kind of spiritual warfare.
An ancient Maori
Yeah, like something's going on.
charm.
It's the only logical explanation. Like how, like, I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
I do not get how they can just always win there. And it's some ridiculous record.
It is very silly, isn't it?
Yeah, some Kiwis gonna be mad that I don't know it. It's like you should know it. If you know rugby,
They
you
should be grateful we're talking about them.
Yeah,
We're Northern Hemisphere
you
boys.
should be grateful you're talking about their win record at Eden Park.
Yeah.
I was let down too.
Mm.
Argentina let me down,
They did.
but I'm used
But
to
let's
that.
not forget, they surprised us massively by winning last week.
Yeah,
know?
they did. They did surprise us.
Maybe a bit of a rugby hangover. Maybe they felt like they'd done what they needed to do. They proved the point.
let's talk about the game.
Okay.
Okay, they did what you can't do. They let New Zealand in the game early
Yeah. Yeah.
because this was a game of two halves.
Yeah, it was.
Because in the first half, New Zealand ran away with it, and then the second half, like I think they scored a try and
that's it.
Try a piece, and that was it.
That's it. Yeah, and they scored their try in the 41st minute, so they didn't score again for almost 40 minutes. Maybe they felt like they'd done enough. Maybe they were trying some different things. But you've got to say, New Zealand don't usually turn off. I always
think of New Zealand as a kind of like a one-half team.
You think so?
Yeah, I see this. I like it's either they have a really good first half or they have a really good second half. Right? They kind of get it together in the second half, or they get it together in the first half. Because the second half, they like Argentina was shutting down everything.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know if that's to do with who was coming off the bench for the All Blacks, who was coming off the bench for Argentina. But I noticed it. I don't know if I'm talking on my ass, but I'm pretty sure I've noticed this a lot where they like have New Zealand either has a really good first half, or they have a really good second half.
What I'm used to as a Welsh fan, when I'm watching us play New Zealand, especially when we were better, we would be going toe-to-toe with them, exchanging scores. They'd be creeping ahead by maybe 3-6 points, and they'd tend to run away with it in the second half when we got tired, and they just don't switch off, and they get it to their fast backs, and they pounce on loose balls and, you know, the chaos of a bit of a kick exchange. And I remember a game, well, actually, the game they knocked Ireland out of in the World Cup, I remember thinking, wow, New Zealand have put in a full hour's performance here, because they defended desperately in the last few phases, didn't they? Well, not few phases, it was several Irish phases, and they were just battering them, and New Zealand didn't give an inch and eventually won the game, right? I kind of see what you're saying, but I do often think like New Zealand have always done enough to have won the game. So it's not that even that they turn off. It's like, well, we can try a different tactic, or we can, you know, not maybe blitz defense as much. We'll change our defensive style.
Yeah, I wouldn't put that out there.
So I don't think it's deliberate. I mean, maybe, sorry, I'm saying I think it might be deliberate what they're doing, but I'm not super disappointed by Argentina losing either, because
I think the second half of that game really kind of gives them something to look. Like, it gives them some positive.
Yeah.
How they straightened up their game, because they decided not to play rugby in that first half.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was a letdown. And All Blacks are lucky. Like, if they would have kept it close all game, and that game would have ended off like All Blacks still winning.
Yeah.
But it would have been like 20-15 or something like that.
Yeah.
The narrative from that game would have been like I wouldn't have wanted to be an All Black or the All Blacks coach.
No, the pressure would still be on Scott Robertson, because he would have had 3 slightly unconvincing wins and a loss. But now he's sitting on, don't worry, we hammered Argentina.
Because there's already a lot of memes about Scott Robertson.
Yeah. Like,
already questioning his coaching. They're already like...
Oh, yeah. But they're Kiwis, aren't they? I respect that. It's like they have the highest possible standard. I think I saw Ardy Surveyor saying, you know, we shouldn't have to rely on a loss to motivate us. And for every team, that's true. But you actually believe it when the All Blacks say it, you know?
Well, if you look at his interview after the game, like, he did not look happy.
No, he didn't.
And they fucking beat them 43-10 or some shit.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And he didn't look happy.
No.
Because I know they kind of fucked up in that second half.
Yeah.
When they should have kept that going.
Yeah.
Because that game could have been easily like in the 60-70 point game.
That's what I'm saying. I'm surprised they shut off. Surprised they didn't score more in the second half given the first half. You are right as well, though. You have to beat New Zealand, you have to strangle them in the first 10 minutes. A lot of teams I've seen beat them, they just absolutely dominate them in the first 10, 20. They force mistakes. They absolutely hammer them physically.
I don't ever think I've seen New Zealand lose when they've had a hot start.
No.
I can't remember a time, and I've watched a lot of their games, because you have to watch the All Blacks play.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever seen them lose when they came out of the gates hot.
No, and that's also because the other team, if you're down 20 points in the first 15 minutes, your game plan's gone out the window. All of a sudden, it's just stay alive, right? And they put themselves in such a good position, they dictate the pace, don't they? Which it looks like they did for the first half in this.
Yeah, and their defense, like All Blacks defense is so good, it's hard to make a comeback on them.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, once they've, they're not a confidence team, they're a good team. But once they've got their confidence up, then it's just hard to do anything against them, isn't it?
Yeah, they get loose.
Yeah.
And they just start creating shit out of nowhere.
Start spinning the ball on their finger, waiting for the tackle, like, come get it.
Yeah, you can't let them feel good about the game.
No.
You gotta, if they start having smiles, you fucked up.
You've just unlocked the Harlem Globetrotters of rugby.
Yeah.
If you give them an inch.
You can't let like TJ Perenara or when Aaron Smith was playing, being like, yeah, guys, yeah, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
Like once they start doing that, you're like, fuck, we're fucked.
Yeah. Will Jordan, I know you're not a huge fan of him.
Not a huge fan of Will Jordan.
But he suits that kind of game. Once it opens up and he's got room, he's so fast.
You take Will Jordan out of New Zealand, and I don't think all I see is a French owner complaining about him. Right? That's all I see. Like you take Will Jordan out of the Southern Hemisphere, and like because he's just like he just kind of like waits for something to come to him, and then they like he just takes the scrapings off the side, and he's like
just pounces. He's no Blair Kinghorn thriving in the attritional climate of the French leagues, is he?
Yeah, he's just not a. I'm not going to say he's not like athletic and gifted and fast and stuff.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah,
obviously.
he does seem to show up at opportune moments and not a lot else, though. I'll agree with that.
He's an opportune moment winger.
Yeah,
there's a few guys like that. I even think
Duhan.
Duhan. How do you say his last name? Van der Merwe.
I say Van der Merwe.
Van der Merwe.
Van der Merwe.
I think he's exactly the same.
We had a big old debate about this in the Six Nations, didn't we? Because I was saying
we had a
best
debate about this
world,
over text messages.
We did,
and you guys are shitting all over me.
We were. It was hilarious.
Yeah, and I was completely fucking legit what I was saying. I was like, "Fuck you guys."
In the end, I was proven right.
Yeah. Like he's I wouldn't say like I don't want to say they're like overhyped.
They don't work as hard as James Lowe, is what you're saying. They're not everywhere doing everything.
Yeah.
And in the era of modern players where you've got to be able to do pretty much everything on the field, they're still just staying in their lane, aren't they?
Yeah, they're just like fucking. Yeah, they're just top guys. Hold on a second. All right, we're recording again. All right. So where were we again?
Duhan, opportunist. Filthy poacher. Yeah. Enough
with
said.
His little gang member, what's his name? Will Jordan.
Yeah. If you're Scott Robertson, how are you feeling now?
I probably would be still a little concerned.
Mm-hmm. Or are we just in the era of everyone's a bit better than they used to be?
Well, yeah, we definitely are. Right? But after the first half and then how the second half went, I'd be still a little bit concerned. There's still a lot to work on.
It's a bit like New Zealand. Now they've shown that they can do what they used to doing under Scott Robertson. It's like, okay, we haven't lost our DNA, right? He's not changed it. Because up to that point, he'd just beaten England twice. Not a high scoreline for the All Blacks. And they lost to Argentina. And I was a bit worried. It's like, have they forgotten how to do that thing where they just run in 5 tries in 20 minutes? But they haven't.
The thing is, under Scott Robertson, the biggest thing is they don't look better.
No.
They
no,
look
they don't. You're
the
right.
same. Right?
If not slightly worse, because they lost to Argentina.
Yeah, so like,
Ian Foster sat on a beach with a can of lager going,
and they scraped by England, and they lost to Argentina, and they did have a good first half against Argentina, but the second half, they kind of just dissolved.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, they don't look better. So I don't know what this says about, like, they look exactly the same. Like, why did you even need a new coach?
Yeah.
Like, what was the point of bringing Scott Robertson in?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if his magic touch has happened yet, but they look like the same team. They look like they're playing the same game.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't. Everything looks the same, if not worse. Right?
Well,
nothing. Definitely 100%. Nothing looks better than previously.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I can't see his stamp on it yet, and this game against South Africa will tell us so much. It'll tell us so much about both teams.
Yeah, because South Africa is the standard right now.
Yeah.
So if because they gotta go. I think they're going to South Africa.
I think so. Yeah.
Right. So if they're going there, that's gonna be tough.
It is gonna be tough.
I don't want to go. I wouldn't want to go there.
No, but I would say South Africa, as much as they've beaten Australia twice, that's not an excellent way to prepare yourself.
What do you think?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I think New Zealand know how to beat South Africa. They know how to go around them, not through them. And they know how to match them physically. But like you said, they haven't improved. Whereas South Africa are so confident right now, they are playing with things, aren't they? They're testing things out. So I'd say South Africa obviously in a much better position, but they won't be underestimating New Zealand. All of these are massive cliches. I'm really excited for it. Ultimately, I think South Africa would beat them, actually. I do think South Africa would beat them. I think it'd be a close, good game.
Because I think they're playing 2 games there.
Yeah.
And then the final round, they go back and forth.
Okay. Yeah.
So 2 games in South Africa. Ugh.
Yeah.
If they manage to win one.
Yeah. I think they will win one. I just don't think they'll win both. I think they'll win the second test.
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think they'll win either one.
I think South Africa are missing something right now.
Yeah, but I think what they have
Yeah.
is like what they do have.
Yeah.
And what they're really good at right now.
Yeah.
I think is just not going to be good news for New Zealand.
No, it's not. No, it's not. And I did like, we'll come to that game in a minute. I don't really have a lot else to say about Argentina and New Zealand, really. I'm a bit like I said, I'm not too disappointed with Argentina because they've already beat my expectation and I love seeing them as the good team they were in that first game. I don't think they have the resources, the depth to put on that kind of performance against New Zealand week after week. Right?
Yeah, I agree.
You just don't, you can't fault them. It's like we said last week, they haven't got a professional team.
Also, New Zealand cheated.
Oh?
They used the spirits and magic of Eden
Oh, they
Park.
did, yeah.
I think that's what we can. Let's just end this here. That New Zealand is using magic and some sort of ghosts to win at Eden Park.
Fair enough.
And I think that's the end of the story there.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Let's go on to South Africa, Australia.
There was a hint of South Africa panicking when the scoreline was close and going, shit, get the good guys on.
Yeah, the first half. I would feel good if you're a Wallabies fan. You probably thought this was it. You probably like, yeah, we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
We're back, baby.
Yeah.
We're back.
Oh, I don't think they're that deluded. I think they know exactly where they are.
I don't know. They are Australians.
That's true. I think if a Welsh team in that situation would be like, don't get your fucking hopes up, boys. Don't get your fucking hopes up.
They're just like the guy in third place. After the first half. Yeah, we fucking did this already.
I think I'm more excited for the Australia-Argentina game actually now. I think that's the one I really want to watch because New Zealand, South Africa will be awesome.
Come on.
Actually, am I talking shit? Am I talking shit?
Talking shit.
No, maybe I'm talking shit. Yeah, I think I'm talking shit.
Because that will be the real test of where the All Blacks are really at.
Yeah, never mind. Okay, I'm excited for both games.
Yeah.
I'm excited for both games.
Both games are good.
They are both good. And there is always a danger in the Rugby Championship of it being a dead rubber. And I think if South Africa beat New Zealand twice, they've already won it, haven't they, really? Won 4 games in a row. That's it. Isn't it? Isn't that how it works?
That'll be pretty much it.
Yeah. So that's the thing. People always say it's the 6 nations of the Southern Hemisphere, and as much as it's fun, it's not the same. And it's not because of the structure or it's you just don't have the same competitiveness.
That's the thing about the Rugby Championship. It's that ever since I started watching it, you just kind of knew who was going to win.
Yeah.
All the time. You knew how the games are going to play out all the time.
Yeah.
But this year, I feel like there's just a lot more hype, drama. There's a lot more. There's more of a spectacle to it this year for me.
I don't think so. Because I think Australia historically would beat New Zealand or South Africa once with a shock result. Argentina have beaten them. This year, I don't think that Australia are going to trouble South Africa at all.
Well, they didn't. Australia lost twice.
Sorry, what I was saying. Australia aren't going to trouble New Zealand at all.
Well, we don't know that.
I know that. This was the mistake we made a few weeks ago. We were like, Australia are back, and then they fucking weren't, And okay, so we go back to this game. Yeah, they were in it for a bit, and it was pissing it down.
Which is also credit to them too, because now you got a bunch of rain.
Yeah.
It's going to be a forward heavy game.
Yeah.
Right?
Keep it up the middle.
So for the Wallabies to stick it in with them.
Yeah. And they took their 3 points early on. They took them and that was smart. They were sensible. They're not trying anything mental. They just wanted to stay in the fight. Mm-hmm. And I think I saw Joe Schmidt saying, we're playing the best team in the world. We are. We're playing the world champions. Don't expect miracles. It's weird. The games they've played, Australia, in the last few months, you've played Wales, who are just this hot, sludgy mess of a team right now. And from the sludge will emerge maybe a mediocre team soon. But to go from that,
Oh, you're so negative.
I'm not. That's realistic. That's what I'm saying.
Bunch of dead bodies. Is fucking-
I've got hope. It's just not going to happen for 2 or 3 years. But that's a weird schedule, isn't it? Playing Wales to playing the world champions. Like it's so Joe Schmidt has got a little bit of positivity and hope, and then I think he's done well by going, you didn't really think we'd beat South Africa, did you guys? Like, we'll put up a fight. And in that second game, we showed improvement. Didn't I say last week, he's got a little checklist and he's going, get a little bit better at the line out, get a little bit better at this. And I think that's what they did.
Also, I think what goes against that, though, is that Razzie put out a really experimental team.
Yeah, but South Africa's version of experimental.
And when they only started winning when he emptied his bench with all his really good players.
I mean, they were already winning, but it just was close, wasn't it? It was
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 points at half time or whatever.
So
he could have kept those guys on and won that game. Yeah, it would have been a closer game. But South Africa's B team is every other country's best fucking team they've got, So I don't know. I don't buy into that too much.
I don't buy that.
All right.
Not Ireland.
No, maybe not Ireland. No. And I don't think he would do that against New Zealand, but there's a lot of teams who South Africa.
Do you find that kind of thing disrespectful?
No, not at all.
No,
not at all. And I guess it annoys me when people go, it's disrespectful. It's like, well, fucking beat them then. Right? Prove it wrong. When that URC thing happened, when they sent out B teams, those were real B teams. Not a single A-list starter.
Because they did that with he did kind of a similar thing with Wales when they came down there.
Yeah, and we did beat them.
And they beat them.
Yeah, and we did beat them, and that was good. But that was a 3-test series, and they won the series.
Yeah,
and that's what it's about ultimately. And you've got to remember those summer tours. As much as we talk about them and they're exciting, they are the perfect time to experiment.
I don't think it's disrespectful either.
No, I don't.
I just wanted your opinion.
Oh no, not at all. I mean, the Rugby Championship and the Six Nations is different, but nobody does that, do they? Nobody plays a B team in competitions that matter.
I could argue if you buy if you're a fan buying a ticket,
Yeah,
and going to those games, you want to see
the
best of the best.
Yeah,
that's why it's the Rugby Championship. You want to see the best play.
Yeah.
And so for Razzie to just put out a bunch of trial players, I could see that. That probably wouldn't bother me too much, but maybe some people.
I mean, he has Cheslin Colby, Mapimpi in his starting line. Those aren't trial players. They're World Cup winners. So I don't. He's never done a full 15 of new guys. The only people who do that are Leinster and the Bulls in the URC, and it backfired. Right, but you're right. There is a point to be made about I paid $60, pounds, whatever, to go see a game, probably more.
Yeah.
But that's World Rugby's problem to sort out, right? Yeah, it sucks for the fans, but we play a lot of fucking rugby.
I would just see because you could just make the argument you're playing Portugal or something like that, and you put out this, you're not your A squad.
Yeah.
But when you're playing in the Rugby Championship and you got people paying big money to see these games, and then you fuck around putting in whoever the fuck,
but then when do you experiment?
When you play Portugal, or when you play Georgia, when you play a lower tier team.
But you only do that maybe once a year.
No, they do it more than that.
South Africa?
Yeah, I think oh yeah.
Well, they played Portugal once.
Yeah, or the Barbarians or something like that. They got time to do that.
Okay.
But I don't know. I'm not saying I agree with you. Right? If you're gonna you can put out whoever you want to put out.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just trying to
trying to rile me.
Trying to rally you up.
Get under my skin.
Do you think?
Been a slow news week, it seems.
What do you think the Wallabies have to do to get back to top? Do you think they can? Do you think there's any way out?
Here's the thing. You asked me that about Wales, and you called me moody and grumpy. I'm hopeful. It's just gonna take years. Literally years. We'll get there. I've no doubt. Wallabies, I don't know. Because they don't have the infrastructure anymore.
I would say that it's going to be one of those things where it's going to take years.
But I can't see... For us, I can see a way out. All we got to do is sort out our union and put some money back into the regions. And that's an easy fix. It's just going to take a while. And the Wallabies, they lost a whole team. They lost the Rebels. What do you do?
And they have to start from the bottom up too.
Right.
I think their whole grassroots system is fucked.
Yeah,
too.
you've got 2 or 3 private schools providing most of the players.
Yeah.
And even some of those guys are now going to league. I don't know how you fix that.
They have to revitalize union
Yeah.
At all levels.
At all levels. You have to make people like union
Like
when
at least
the whole
in Wales,
country's obsessed.
you have like tons and tons of people playing rugby. Like all kids are playing rugby. They want to play rugby.
Yeah. We got rid of league.
In like Australia, they have to like bring them back.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a hard... Their product for Aussie rules and league, I don't give a shit what you think
Maybe
about
they
the sport. The
deserve
product is class.
Australians deserve this because they embraced league.
That's what
This
happens.
is what you get.
This is what you get.
Yeah, this is what you get. You embrace league, and now you have to watch your diet rugby.
Yep. Yeah.
You know?
And then you go to the Rugby League World Cup and you play Papua New Guinea and Lebanon and you hammer them.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's what you wanted.
And you're like, yeah,
That's
we're
what you
the best
wanted.
in the world.
Yeah.
And fucking like
Yeah.
a game that's less rugby.
I know you love shitting on it, and so do I. But you've got to say, Aussie Rules and League, that's a quality product. Look at the stadiums. They fucking love it.
It's less rugby. It's not a quality
I agree with that. I agree with what I'm saying is the people who like it, they really fucking like it. Right? They have a quality product.
I can't wrap my head around how do you like less rugby?
I don't know either, but it's working for them, innit? To the detriment of the guys in union. You know? In England, it did. In England, you have a whole professional rugby league. And it only exists in like a little bit of the north of England, and it just stays there, and it's fine. You know, there's enough sport room for everyone.
That's what they should have done. They should have kept like
stay in Melbourne
or stay in fucking Darwin in Humpty Doo.
Stay on the island of Tasmania and leave us alone.
Yeah, you can only play league in Tasmania, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And, you know, they played with fire, right? They played with fire.
Yeah.
And now you got like, because the guy that I think that watches league is the same guy that puts like a Punisher sticker on the back of his truck window. It's the same guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I've met union guys who are like that.
They don't. Yeah, but
There's less of them, hopefully.
less of them, right?
Yeah. It's like, you know, in the Lord of the Rings, you know, you look at the One Ring and you're like, ooh, that'd be nice. And like a sensible union fan will go, don't be silly. It's going to make you weird. And then some league guy picks up and tries it on, and he goes mental and dies and ruins his life.
Jumps into a volcano.
Yeah. Or maybe a better metaphor is, you know, don't touch that crack pipe. Smoke it once.
Oh.
It's going to ruin your life.
Because like, yeah, it boggles my mind.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why I'm even more onto this because when I was first introduced to the game of rugby, like to find out what it was, because I didn't know this game even existed until I was like 20 years old.
Yeah.
Right? When I first saw it, I was introduced to League first.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And then like people are trying to show me Union and there's all this shit going on and I'm like, I don't fucking know what's going on.
Yeah.
Right? And I was more attracted to League.
Yeah.
Because I was an idiot. I was dumb and I was young and dumb. That's why. I was like, man, how did that happen to me? Like, how did I like this game more? I was like, oh yeah, because I was like 20. I was fucking stupid.
It's like when kids, you know, when they're young, and I was like this, I couldn't eat anything without ketchup all over it. Couldn't do it. And then when I was about 19, I was like, that's a bit childish. And I was like, you know,
19. It's like, you went on a little long for that.
I love ketchup. But you know, as you mature, your tastes enhance. And I feel like League is for people who just never really grew up. They just never got over ketchup.
Just at a Denny's. Can I get some ketchup? Fuck, Frank, you're eating pancakes. Yeah, can I get some ketchup, please?
Did I stutter? Get me some fucking ketchup. But I've matured. Now I like olives and red wine and dark chocolate and other...
I'll even buy that green ketchup. I'll branch out.
The limited edition green ketchup.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying?
Fuck, what were we talking about now?
We were just being mean to League again.
Yeah, I could probably go on. I could go on for a fucking hour.
Oh, I know you could. League hurt you, didn't it? It tempted you in, and you realized it was just an empty, sugary hit.
It's so simple. It's such a simple game that I'm just worried, you know, like, and there's just like, and like, there just seems to be a lot more like simple people out there now. Like, you're just like fucking, so I'm worried, like, it's like, oh fuck, like,
is the popularity of League, is there a correlation between our overconsumption of social media, the death of truth in the world, and people liking rugby league?
Yeah, flat Earth is out there, you know, and you see all this dumb shit that people believe in, and you're like, fuck, if they say League, and there's a lot of them, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, there is. But don't worry about it. It's so straight. It's the other side of the world, you know. But yeah, like you asked me, can they salvage Union in Australia? I don't know. All I've got to go on is what's happening in Wales. I know we'll bounce back. I don't think we're going to be world beaters in a few years, but we'll get to a standard where we're as good as Scotland again. We'll creep up a bit, whatever. But in Australia, I don't know how you fix it.
Yeah, I think their problem's bigger because you have to start from literally the ground up.
But you're not just starting, are you? You haven't got a blank slate. You've got this monster of AFL and league together who are already eating up you're living off scraps already. I don't know how you tempt people back now.
I can just see Australia like fielding a team with imports.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, fuck, we just don't have enough players. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to have to import players now because everyone's playing league or
Yeah.
Aussie rules or some shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know. Like, you have to bring a whole generation of players back, and then you have to, like, build those kids up from the ground up. It could take years. It could be, like, 20 years before they're,
And you might lose some of those guys to league on the
yeah,
way.
and they already are doing that, right? So you're going to be doing that, like, battle
Yeah.
for a long time. I don't know what they're going to do. Like, they're...
Scary times.
yeah.
I was listening to... I wish I could remember who it was. So it wasn't me saying this. This isn't my original idea, but it's a YouTuber. Anyway, his idea was, do you change the Lions tour now? Do you say, actually, let's go to Argentina? They're up for it. Like, I know it's a bit late in the day, but do you go, okay, Australia, you've had your warning, you're shit, we're going somewhere else, you better sort it out,
I would fucking love that idea. You know
I
what
thought
you
it was a
do?
good idea.
You don't even do. You know what you do? You do a whole North American tour.
Well,
You just go down. You go Canada, United States, and then you have like a game against Chile, fucking Uruguay,
Yeah.
maybe even Brazil.
And then it finishes with a 2-test series against Argentina.
Or 3-test series.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about any 2-test series ever again. But yeah, and a 3-test series against Argentina.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that would be great.
It would be good. But like, do you have to make sure that Argentina are competitive enough to face the Lions? Because the Lions are always going to be a really good team.
I think when you're like, well, if that point, you make a good point there. If you're just going to go with that, then they might as well just go back to South Africa or New Zealand.
Yeah.
Right? I just don't think there's just nothing attractive in Australia right now.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to have a shit tour, why don't you just kind of make it exciting?
I totally agree. Although I do feel harsh, I do, like I keep saying, I do want Australia. We need Australia to be good at rugby union. We need them to be a global force, right? So it's in everyone's best interest if they get good again. I want them to. I was a little bit happy they beat us twice. Little bit happy. I was like, okay, they needed that more than we needed it. We'll be all right eventually. I'm not sure they will. And I think Joe Schmidt is like the perfect choice. So but I just don't know how you fix the grassroots. So, but back to the game, Australia, put up a bit of a fight, then lost, whatever. What more can you say?
That's what you do. That's what happens to you, Australia, when you open up the Book of the Dead League.
The Necronomicon, let the demons in.
Do not touch this book. Oh, I wonder what's inside here. League. This league just fumes out of the book.
Infect your veins, and they go black as it's spreading up your arm. It's got me. I hate scrums. Yeah.
What else do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about the URC, and I want to talk about the Gallagher Prem a bit.
The URC.
Yeah, it's coming up. Well, it's a month. It's starting on September 20th, and I was looking at some of the signings some of the Welsh teams are making, and I was looking at some of the talent we've got, and I was starting to get hopeful, and then I reminded myself, no, we're going to lose every single game. As a Cardiff fan, I saw a Dragons fan on YouTube talking up all the signings and young kids they're promoting up from their academy. They've got this guy, Harry Ackerman, who was the under-20s captain, and he is really good. He is really good. And then I remember what happens. Day one, Leinster come to town, put us back in our place, and remind us that we've got £9 in the bank, and fuck off, So I guess I want to ask you if you think Glasgow are going to kick on. Are we going to see the same things from the same teams, or is anything different going to happen?
Ooh, I don't know.
Too early to tell.
It's kind of a little too early to tell. Right now, I think you're going to probably see more of the same.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of worried about it.
Yeah, I am.
Are we going to see the exact same,
But we didn't see the same, though, because Glasgow won it. So
yes,
that
Glasgow
is different.
did win it. So, yeah, we didn't see... It got, But Glasgow won the championship, the URC championship.
Yeah.
But the whole season was kind of playing out how pretty much everyone saw it.
Yeah, they were almost like the exception to the rule of all the teams, weren't they? Everyone else did pretty much what we expected. You know, Leinster and even Munster, who had a bit of a ropey season, were right in there until the end, weren't they?
It was just like a good surprise ending.
It was.
For a movie.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, oh, I've seen this movie. It's like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. Glasgow came out of nowhere.
Yeah. And beating a South African team in South Africa. There was a nice run of URC-ness in, I think it was Connacht won it, Scarlets won it, and then Glasgow won it. I'm not sure if it was in that order, but it was a great 3 years, and I thought, wow, this is going to be the league of the future. Super competitive. And then it wasn't. And then the money started to sort of dictate who won a lot, you know?
Yeah, because I think some clubs, like in Ireland, especially Ireland and Wales, you're seeing who the clubs are that, like, I guess the unions or whatever are putting their effort into.
Yeah.
And the ones that they're not. Like, I just don't see Connacht ever winning
Well, they did win it, though.
I know, but I don't see them ever winning it again.
Right. Yeah.
Right? I just think the league is changing into like a more like, the money is becoming like the key.
Yeah. And that is the end result of all professional sport. And the reason I go on about it, and I know I have a bit of a hatred for Leinster sometimes, but the fear comes from the fact that you watch Premier League football in the UK and it's always the same.
Because they're all broke. They're all the Gwent Dragons. That's the problem, right? They got more money to pay players, but they're all like they're kind of all the same.
But what I'm saying is, in the Premier League, it's literally the richest team wins, right? Because if you don't know it, don't worry about it. But like, you know, Man City are just going to keep winning it because they're literally owned by like Saudi Arabian oil barons, right? Like they're just going to keep winning it. So I'm worried that that's going to happen in the URC. It's just going to sort of slowly fossilize into predictability. I'd love to be surprised. And if Wales could sort the shit out and assign the right amount of funding to the regions, get some good coaches in, that would change things.
Have they settled on anything yet?
No, that'll come out in October, I was told. But it's not going to fix everything overnight, right? Like by that point, we're already 10 years behind the Irish teams, you know? And we'll hopefully get better, but you can't just rely on plucky talent all the time, obviously. And Leinster keep churning out absolute rock stars.
It doesn't take that long. Look at Leinster. Because Leinster used to be like a here and there team.
They were always good, but yeah, you're right. They've always been reasonably good. I'm always surprised by Cardiff though, because like we're the capital region, we have a big-ish capital city, not the same size as Dublin, but I'm surprised there's not more millionaire benefactors snooping around, going have some cash, buy some guys. You know, we can't live off Tynus de Beer's surprising quality forever. You know.
Yeah, fucking, I just love bringing him up every time.
This
makes me laugh.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't know. If Glasgow can kick on and be good again, that would be amazing. But
you know, for what even Edinburgh and Glasgow do every year,
yeah,
they're always surprisingly competitive.
They are.
For what they're working with,
yeah,
for their player base,
yeah.
Man, Scotland might be the best rugby nation in Northern Hemisphere. They're like the Argentina of they punch above their weight. When you look at them, like, and they,
Yeah.
you know, and like when you listen to like Scottish rugby pundits talk, like,
Yeah.
I guess their whole lower system, like their development system, is like fucking awful.
They're worried about it.
Right?
Yeah, they're worried
And
about it.
their under 20s team is awful.
Yeah,
And then they get to and then you get to the URC, and their teams are pretty decent. Now, they do rely heavily on imported players.
The old alliance with South Africa. Yeah.
So if they don't start leaking imported players, I can still see them being.
Yeah.
I didn't hear of anyone leaving. I don't think anyone's significant left. Blair Kinghorn was like the last I
think they got
big name.
Magnus Bradbury from Bristol as well. He's a class A, and he's Scottish, right? He's coming on. So yeah, I think they've augmented their squads in a few ways, which is smart. You know, it's two teams, right? They just pool the resource into two teams. I think if we do that in Wales, we'd be doing a lot better. But because we're a rugby nation, which Scotland aren't historically.
Yeah, you can see that. You could see how they have just the two teams.
Yeah.
Because I would assume that the player base money is probably similar to Wales.
Yeah, if not a bit less.
And they're trying to force 4 teams in Wales, and then they're just sticking with the 2 teams, and they're having pretty decent success.
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously, yeah. So, And then I think looking at the talent in South Africa, and now the URC is starting to gain traction in South Africa, I can see some of these guys. Actually, it already kind of happened. Etzebeth coming back to the Sharks. Some of these guys will start coming back
Khaleesi.
from Japan. They'll start coming back from France. And that means the South African teams are only going to get better because they can see now this is the league of the future for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they can go make some money, but it's not going to be like half the country's fucked off to go make money. Now they're going to be like, no, we can do our teams proud here.
Yeah, I think there was just no history, right? So they got into the URC, but there's just no like history with these teams, right?
Yeah.
Like they're just used to the rugby championship, Super Rugby for years and years. These like Southern Hemisphere rivals, and then they just came into this completely different environment and atmosphere. And I think a lot of fans thought that their teams would walk through them.
Yeah,
and they haven't.
No.
And now that that's happening and it is competitive, and these other teams, like a Scottish team, can go down there and win the championship.
Yeah.
In South Africa, I think it's going to take some time, but the rivalries and the traditional rivalries there's going to be new rivalries that are going to form.
Oh yeah,
right. And the whole drama with Ireland, like I thought that was great.
Yeah,
right. Because now next season, all these Irish teams that come down there and all those South African teams that go up there, like these two countries, like going to war with each other.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to the first Leinster Bulls match. That'll be a class game.
Because I think if South Africa came to the URC and just demolished it, and there was no one in the Northern Hemisphere challenging the Springboks, I think the whole thing would probably fade. Yeah, you'd probably see
more South Africans leave. You mean?
You would just see an interest in the whole from South Africa. You'd probably see an interest in all that rugby like dissipate. Yeah, right. But there's challenge there. There's mountains they still have to climb. Yeah. And
they love proving points, don't they?
And they love proving points.
They've got the chippiest of chips on the shoulder, the South African guys.
Yeah, it's just going to take some time to really build that, like, history. They got to build some history. Yeah. Because it's not there.
This was a good season for doing that, as much as I
100%,
whine about the URC. So, yeah, I guess we've got to wait a bit longer before we can speculate a bit more. But considering it's a bit of a slow news week.
I just know, like, Leinster's going to be good.
Oh, yeah. But you know what'll happen? They'll win a bunch, and then about 3/4 of the way through the season, they'll
start just dropping players.
They'll send their C team into the gates of hell, lose their top position again, won't they? Like they just don't seem to learn.
That's bad management.
They just don't seem to learn, do they? Or it was a Nina Bar scheme. You never know.
Got a little bit of time here too. What else do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about the Gallagher Prem.
The Gallagher,
my new favorite league.
Still called the Gallagher
Going back to my English overlords. Hello, my lord. Can I watch some rugby? What's that? Is it called the Gallagher Prem?
You know what we never talked about?
What?
It is old news.
What?
Twickenham.
Oh, they renamed it.
They renamed it.
Renamed Twickenham. What do they call it?
Alliance Park? I don't know what the fuck they called it.
What do you think about that? Don't care.
That's all I had to say about that. It's old news.
It is old news.
I'm not from like around there. Have you ever been to Twickenham?
I haven't actually. No, I've never been to Twickenham. No.
So I'm not like
I've heard lots of things and I've speculated on it a lot, but yeah.
It like because they changed the name to whatever it is. I think it's Alliance. I can't remember.
Yeah.
To whatever
Alliance.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was just the Alliance Park or Alliance Stadium.
Alliance Stadium, which is also the sponsor of the Saracens as well, I think, right?
And you're talking about Twickenham is like the home of rugby.
Yeah, and as much as we can hate on rugby and say New Zealand historically have a lot more... Sorry, as much as we can hate on English rugby, say New Zealand historically been better, South Africa have won more World Cups, England invented that game, right? Yeah. And it wasn't like with tennis or football where they just put rules into a book and were like, we invented this sport. They literally... Like that, rugby started in England. It's their fucking sport, right? Yeah. That is when they say it's Rugby HQ. As much as cringe, that is the fucking home of rugby, isn't it?
Yeah, Twickenham is like the mecca, right?
Yeah, and which is weird to say, but yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know why it would just straight up change the name. Like couldn't be in like Alliance Twickenham or Twickenham Alliance. It was kind of a yeah. That's all I really have to say about it. Like they need money.
They need money. I was sad when they changed the Millennium to the Principality, to be honest. Like, that did take a little bit of shine off our absolute mega cauldron of awesome rugby stadium.
But Murray Field, they went BT Murray Field.
Yeah.
So it's like BT Murray.
Yeah.
So they kept the name. I don't know why. Like, I think it's just like with that much
Probably
history.
because they're giving them that much money. They'll be like, we'll fucking tell you what it's called. If you want fucking £1 billion, like, we'll tell you what it's fucking called, all right?
Yeah.
Like,
Twickenham's just like, it's just such an iconic place. Wouldn't you want to keep that name?
You'd think so. But yeah, they are a bit cash strapped, aren't they? Considering they've lost 3 professional rugby clubs.
Well, let's talk about some English rugby.
Yeah, Gallagher Prem. So I was reading, and I sent you this article. They were talking about, Rob Baxter was talking about like they're signing a new deal between the teams and the ERU, the ERU, the English Rugby Union. And they're talking about having 25 kind of central contracted players. It sounds like they're not changing too much, but they are strengthening their connections a little bit, which sounds like exactly what they need. Again, this is really not a dramatic week for news, is it? This is all like fine. Like, my opinion about it is that's probably a good thing. Like,
so just 25.
That's what it says. Yeah, it says 25 in the article. Like, they're going to have about 25 centrally contracted England squad players. That's a lot, though. Actually,
that takes off. Well, fuck. What can happen there? You can have a Leinster situation.
What's that?
Like, if this happened like 5 years ago,
yeah,
you'd have the RFU paying for pretty much
all of Saracens,
and then Saracens buying up some like fucking rock stars from around the world.
Yeah,
because they have all this free money.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
So they're like, oh yeah,
yeah. And if it's going to happen anywhere, that's going to happen in England, isn't it? Because at least when it was happening in Ireland, they control everything.
But I guess they do have a salary cap.
Yeah.
So those players probably have to go against the cap, right? Like, well, you have these players; they are paid for, but they're going against your cap.
Yeah.
Right. So you can't just go gung ho on fucking buying anyone.
Yeah. And luckily, this is more luck than planning. The English team is actually spread across several teams now rather than being heavily concentrated in one. You know, because you actually have a diverse league, you've got 10 teams rather than 4 in Ireland. Like, you're not just going to have them all coming from the same club. You might have a bit of bias towards one or the other if they're doing well, but luckily, you know, you're going to definitely have guys from Northampton, obviously. You're definitely going to have a couple of Harlequins. You're definitely going to have a couple of Sale. You know, have some of everyone, basically, won't you?
I wonder what the rules are for how many import players you're allowed to have.
There is a rule, and I think I wish I knew it, but I don't think it's as strict as other places because there are a lot of imports there.
Because with English player base, like how many players they have,
yeah,
they shouldn't ever have to be spending money on.
No, and I think they do it to stay competitive with France. They have to keep these high wages. They have to bring in imports because they've got to maintain like a strong business like France have. Because if they decided not to do that, you'd see an exodus of English players, wouldn't you?
And I guess you want to bring in import players too, just to bring in that, to up that competition.
Yeah, well, and also to replace guys in international windows, because as we know, in England have got this often happens to Welsh guys, unless they're specific in their contract. Look, I go to Wales when Wales are playing, even if it's during outside of test windows. We don't get to play him, right?
Yeah.
And I don't blame England for that. That's smart. Why would you? I've paid this guy a lot of fucking money. He can stay and play for me, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know. But I think what I want to see from the Gallagher Prem, I loved watching it last year. And
I did too.
Yeah, it was fun though, wasn't it? As much as fun to shit on them a wee bit because they lost a few teams. Like, it was the best league to watch in terms of competition.
It was.
Right?
Yeah.
And I loved the Finn Russell being at Bath Story and revitalizing them. I loved Northampton Saints being just
Exeter,
the
young kids.
Yeah, the team of Welsh children.
Little engine that could.
I loved Harlequins giving it a good old go and making it reasonably far in the Champions Cup and also Newcastle.
Things are happening there.
I just want stability. You know, we're at a shaky time. We're all stood here going, "There's no
news
this week." Who's the guy
in charge of Diamond? Steve Diamond, or
I think so. Yeah,
I think it's him.
Yeah,
he's pulling some strings there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they got some plans going on there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think we might be a little bit surprised by Newcastle.
Yeah.
Next season.
Good.
I think they might win a game.
Good for them. Good for them. I like that guy Adam Radwan. I want Gloucester to stop promising things. Stop gaslighting me into thinking they're going to be good. Yeah, we signed Zach Mercer. We're going to be amazing. Shut up, Gloucester. You shit. You know what I mean? But
we talked about everything we wanted to talk about.
We got some blood out of that stone today.
Yeah, you were a little insecure about it. You were worried.
I was fine. I thought you were, to be honest. I thought you were fine. You were like, "Have you got anything to talk about?"
I'm always good.
I was fine.
Rugby is the gift that keeps on giving.
I could talk
This
all
is
day.
easy money.
What money?
It's
You're
easy.
getting money?
Oh yeah, I'm keeping all the money I'm getting from the
Fuck's
podcast. It's going to my bank account.
Nice.
All right, friends.
Yeah.
Well, you can find us on YouTube and anywhere you can download podcasts. You can give us a little hello at X.
Can you?
Yeah.
Are we on Threads?
No, we're not
Oh,
on Threads.
I got Threads the other day.
Did you?
Yeah.
You can also email us at thefriendsofrugbypod@gmail.com and like and share the podcast. Give us a little like. Give us a little review.
Ooh.
Actually, don't write a review.
No, do.
What happens? Like
Bad publicity is
these
good
guys
publicity.
are shit.
Any publicity is good.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. You know, people say we're shit. Someone's going to be like, oh, I might give it a listen then, see
We
how
need
shit
like a swarm of AI bots reviewing us.
is. Yeah. Scantily clad Asian women
We should
bikini
go-
profile
we should go
pictures.
buy likes.
We don't have any fucking money to do that.
We should buy a bunch of likes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get 10,000 likes.
You can probably do that now.
All right, friends. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.